Good morning, everybody. Hey, I'm glad that you could show up. You know, I recently did a 2-hour and 15-minute video. Then I did another hour video yesterday. I didn't even upload that one. I uploaded the 2-hour and 15-minute one. You know, today, Pete Hegseth, the story all of us should be talking about, gave Anthropic, the company that's the proprietor behind the artificial intelligence that the United States military uses for its drones, wants to remove the human failsafe that's in the command flow chart of deciding whether or not humans should be unalived or surveilled on. He wants Anthropic to give the United States government total control over whether or not you should have a human in charge of deciding whether or not you are surveilled or executed. And you know, I come across a certain way, even with my own wife, even just this morning, you know, we've been up since early. And we're sitting there and we're going back and forth across the dynamics of whether or not gender should be a consideration in government agencies, right off the top. And I know that I have a particular way of talking. People don't always like it. I loop around, but there's a structure to what I'm telling you. We humans live in a day and age to where, and I'm even right now getting away from the opening line about the videos I uploaded. Let me just truncate that, or not truncate it. Let me just nip that one in the bud. I uploaded these videos. I come across a certain way, being direct, right? My social graces are not something I spend a lot of time on. I try to be concise, to the point, upfront, unnecessarily so, and I talk about a lot of things. But I uploaded these videos, and I've got an email right here from Ironclad regarding one of their episodes. It's on the screen. You can't really see it because of the white. But talking to them about some of the discrepancies, major discrepancies, if not outright lies, that they put in their thing. So I go and chase this stuff down, and as a result, a lot of people in the cartel grifter, even right there, I just did it again, grifter. When you're misrepresenting something that you didn't have anything to do with, meaning you were never in uniform, you've never been shot at, you've never shot anybody or anything, and then you want to represent it to a bunch of people that wouldn't know any different, and then when someone that does know different recognizes it, goes and chases it down and calls people out, you're not going to make yourself any friends in the YouTube world. I'm just going to tell you that right now, man. And I know, because this is me. And then they'll do stuff like say that you're not that guy, you didn't do it, but my wife's helping me produce this thing. And my production assistant's helping me produce this thing. Was I in Mexico doing what I said I did?
Totalmente. Y
So,
todo el mundo lo sabe.
yeah, for years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's a fact. And everybody that's where I worked at knows that. I've got pictures. I did this 58-minute video, or actually no, the 2-hour and 15-minute video where I'm showing myself working right next to a governor, showing all my stuff. In fact, it's still probably over there. It is. It's in that folder over there. Then I'm absolutely who I am, who I say I am. And so when I'm blown off by these same people that are now starting to email me for a long time, after calling them out on their stuff, I haven't made myself any friends. In fact, if anything, they do not like me and don't want to include me because I represent a threat to their income. End of story. What's that mean, Dave? It doesn't mean shit, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why none of us should give a damn about the cartel grifter industry. It's a little nippy in here.
That's mine.
I know it's yours.
Okay.
I'm going to use it. You got a problem with that?
No.
Pete Hegseth wants Anthropic to cede total control, remove the failsafe to the artificial intelligence that controls the drones, and presumably even something like the dogs from Boston Dynamics. You know, I've got computer stuff all over here I do a fair amount of computer stuff in my spare time. Linux, Java. I study constantly, man. Where the hell did it go? I just had it. Oh, here it is. Building my little drone toys, flying them into my computers across the thing. There's a video of that. None of it means a damn thing, but I do try my best to make sure that Dave's on top of the ball, right? Catching these people in their little lies and stuff, and I've got them dead bang. I figured out recently that, if we get to continue existing as a species, which is really on the table right now, that's not hyperbole at all, man. If we can continue to exist as a species going forward, I need to just put the evidence out there, taking their names out of their stupid videos where they're making fantastic claims like people are being kidnapped and things are being run by cartel or other bullshit like, and I'm going to cuss today. I hope you don't mind. If you got sensitive ears, go look at the Kardashians or something. I'm sure that their lily white mouths wouldn't ever cuss. But that's not me. The cartels are running stuff, or Navy SEALs actually shot Mencho, which is also bullshit. I'm going to tell you something. DEA agent Kiriakou and his companion, his cohort, begged for their lives from the cartel. Go look up the ABC News story. Begging for their lives, DEA agents, ABC News, and you can see the extent of American operations right there in that one sentence when you think that Americans are doing anything kinetic in Mexico. Total bullshit, and every time people put this stuff out there, it's sensationalist stuff. People give clicks. People that don't know better are down in the comment section. Yeah. 3 Americans that I've ever seen coming down doing anything with my general's office. One was working for the Department of State, and the other 2 had to do with sheriff's agencies in Texas. Period. Down where Cartel de Jalisco, de Nueva Generacion, is at, right where I worked. Was I on the same highways they were on? Yep, I was. I don't even need to validate it. It's just a foregone conclusion. So, none of that means anything because it's all small potatoes. You get these people out there, they won't talk with you, they won't collaborate with you even though they've never been there. And respect to Vince Vargas. I'm going to give you a shout out, man. And Ed Calderon. Out of everyone I've talked to over the last year that have anything to do with anything, you 2 are the only one that have given me a nickel of your fucking time, man. Respect. Don't always agree with everything both of you guys got to say, and I'm sure the reverse is true, and that's cool because we're all grown men. And we should be that way, man. We should be honest and open and direct. This thing that Pete Hegseth has got going on, though, I got back to the States and I went immediately to Brooklyn. And I started getting a job. I got a job at a Canadian aerospace company as an engineer in Queens. First, I was working up in Peekskill. Didn't like driving back and forth an hour because it's an hour drive from my spot. And I get up early. And I go to work, and I work a lot, man. I work a ton of overtime. I'm a working mofo, man. I don't like burning daylight. I get a job at this Canadian aerospace facility in Queens. And I'm not digging on it because they want to send me to Austria for some training and stuff, and I don't want to go. Bottom line, so I decided to be like, you know what, let's not do that. And I wind up in San Francisco. And I'm going somewhere with all of this. Humans like to think that we live under human law, and we do. And I like to victim blame too. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the first one to blame myself in every situation. If someone defeats me in combat, if someone beats me up in a fight, because a fight is not combat. A real fight means that someone's not going home. My definition of it. If someone bests me at school, bests me in a chess match, anything that you can think of, I'm the first one to blame myself. Because unless I can do that, I'm never going to overcome that, because people are never going to give you, it's a dog-eat-dog world. How many times have you heard that? So these laws that humans think that we live under, yeah, they're more like guidelines, because really they are. And the proof of that is people break them every single day. Yeah, the speed limit seems like a good idea, but you and I both know what's up. Yeah, you know, you probably shouldn't have a drink or whatever at the bar, but how many people get in their cars and go home anyways? They do. They are guidelines. You know what aren't guidelines, though? The laws of nature, the laws of physics. Shit that you're going to respect, because if you think that because there's a law that says you need to stop for pedestrians, and your dumbass walks out in the middle of the street talking to you, Portland, you guys are super guilty of that shit, that a 2,000-pound chunk of steel flying at you at a velocity of 35 miles an hour and didn't see you is going to be able to stop that same 2,000-pound mass of steel that's not going to bend when it meets your pretty pink flesh. You're fucking crazy, right? Laws of physics, laws of nature. The laws of physics are the laws of nature. So I go to San Francisco and I'm watching all these Hindu fucking people on the 280. It's a freeway that's driving through. There's a 101 and the 280. And they're all driving in their big cars, and they've all been imported on H-1B visas. And if you want to get mad in the comment sections, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to say what it is, man. We're on the precipice of our own fucking extinction. And you guys are too fucking stupid. I'm going to cut that part out. A lot of people are too stupid or too occupied with their fucking toys to realize it. I go to San Francisco and I watch all these super smart Hindus, because they are fucking smart, stopping the freeway on the 280 because they're pissed off about the political shit that's going on over in India. Ironically, I read the Indian Constitution in law school. How about that? Yes, we have law school in Mexico. For those of you in the comment section over on Julian Dory's video that aren't keen enough to figure out that there are nation states in the world, that they have laws, legal structures, and that to navigate these legal structures, there are lawyers in each country that you can think of. Okay? Law school in Mexico, Costco Law School. Fuck out of here, man. I would love to do a video with one of you guys and just match wits with the people that are dogging that in the comment section, but they never will. It's like the people, not worth my wasting my time. Hegseth and this anthropic AI thing and wanting to remove the human's failsafe. There's a lot of people that don't like me. And you know what? I'm going to just go out on a limb and say there's a lot of you out there in YouTube land that I probably wouldn't like either. In fact, I'm certain of it. I see it in the comments all the time. Does that think that I think that you should cease to exist? Definitely not, man. You learn a lot of stuff in Mexico. And I'm not going to... I'll get to the point with the Hindu thing. I've always operated under the premise that my government doesn't give a fuck about me. They never have. They let me get drugs when I was a kid. They weren't there to protect me, and they're not there to protect you. They're there to protect the institution that's in place as far as power. They're in there to protect the banking system that's above the government that operates you. What do you mean, Dave? The UN that everyone thinks is going to govern the world, that they want to govern the world, they are behind all of this. But you know what's behind that? The people with the money that fund the International Monetary Fund, that you can't even sue. You can't even meet those guys in a court of law. They're beyond that. So if you think that this is a government of your consent, you're short-sighted, and I would maybe read some more and point you to investigate that. The Tower of Babel. There's a lot of things, and it's not conspiracy. But none of that means shit anyways, because getting back to the Hindus on the 280 in San Francisco, you look at that and you think, how did my country get overrun with people with H-1B visas working in the tech sector that you're trying to work in too? And then you go down to Pinterest, actually. I went to Pinterest. It's on Grant Street. Right at the top. I'm pretty sure it is. It's either that or 4th. I'll look it up. I'll double check that. But I go in there for an interview trying to get a job coding, and it was a lady with pink hair, man. And we looked at each other, and I was significantly older than her. We both knew without saying anything that, you know, this isn't going to work out because we're not the same. But I beg to differ. Looking back at this a couple years later, we are the same. We're both humans. We got different interests, obviously. Maybe not. I like girls. She probably likes girls too. Whatever. I'll leave that one alone. But, and it is funny, but at the same time, it's not, because there are people that are completely diametrically opposed in their values. I looked at all those Hindus on the freeway that day because I wanted to go skateboarding. And I couldn't because they had stopped all their cars on the freeway because they wanted American support for what was going on in India. And I thought to myself, you know, I have to compete against all these same people that my government let in, that I have to compete against the same jobs. They're willing to work for a cheaper price. They can agree to slave terms just to be here, to be able to make the money that they got. Their access to an education in their country is a lot better than ours is. On top of that, they have 1 billion people there. We only have 333 million people there. So I got to compete against the very best that China and India put out, both of which have countries that are well over 1 billion people in their population. So the cream of the crop from India and China get to come here. And my dumb ass, with all the deficiencies that I had growing up, that I had to overcome, has to compete against them for a job to buy the same house in the same society. And my government allowed it. You know whose fault that is? Mine. Do you know why? Because that's just nature. I have to adapt and overcome to every single thing in my way in order to be able to come out on top, because nature doesn't give a fuck about me and it doesn't give a fuck about you. And I hope that you understand that, because what I'm about to talk about next is just the next evolution on the state of the chain. You know, here, let's get in some trouble. Kaczynski, educated in Harvard, was a math professor at Berkeley. A lot of people do not, maybe I got that reversed. No, you know what? I've got that correct. I am right on that. Where did Kaczynski go to school? Mathematical prodigy who entered Harvard University at age 16 in 1958. I do have it right. Goes on to work at Berkeley. I've been over to Berkeley. It's right next to Oakland. I love Oakland. I go skateboarding over there all the time. He writes this manifesto. I'm going to state outright that I disagree with blowing people up. I disagree with violence as a whole until somebody initiates it against you. Then I'm completely on board with going full tilt until the problem's resolved. That's exactly where I'm at. I took the right time to read his manifesto, which talks about the technical revolution that we're all facing right now. We are on the precipice of our extinction. I'm not exaggerating that. I talked about my wife and I talked about Nicole, my ex-girlfriend, in a video the other day. And we all grow up and we have our lives. And man, I'm going to tell you right now, man, I cherish every single minute that I get to spend with my wife. And I know that you guys have families that you care about too. And I know that when you put on a uniform and you suit up to go fight these cartels that are blowing shit up all over the place, that you make a deal that it's okay if you die. Fucking congratulations, man. Welcome to the man's club. That's our lot in life. You know something else that's included or attached to each and every one of us, though? Families that did not show up in a uniform, children that aren't in a uniform, that did not agree to die. And when you have an autonomous killbot force of Boston Dynamics dogs, and I'm not saying it would be Boston Dynamics that's doing it, but they developed these dogs, robotic platforms that you can attach a weapon to, drones that, to be honest, I really don't even know how to fight them short of nets and other things. There are tactics for that. But fighting an entire autonomous army of robots, drones, water drones in craft, and robotic dogs that can overcome obstacles with ease that you can't even climb, and then thinking that that's a good idea and that this power ought to rest in the hands of any human. Trump doesn't even want Iran to have weapons of nuclear capabilities. But you think that some human somewhere should have the ability to sit there, and this isn't even me. Elon Musk has talked about this. Bezos hasn't. There's another one, Thiel. When you listen to these people, whatever, his name's escaping me right now, but they're talking about, yes, America's enemies should be killed. You have to even look at who America itself has called enemies domestically. The FBI was calling parents terrorists for wanting to even be involved in what their children are being taught. And so when I get irritated with stuff like Ironclad or with certain podcast producers, and you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Wisconsin, your volume of how much methamphetamine will fit in a 255 15 R17 tire, or even a 215-55 R17 tire, you're talking about 30 kilos, and then your so-called cartel contact is trucking over 2 ounces at a time inside of, and then your other cartel contact sitting there under indictment, or has been indicted, admits that the cartel's a terrible enemy. You have their gait, their stature, their voice, and everything else on camera, and you think the cartel can't figure out who that is if it was true, and that their best instinct is to go on camera and put all their stuff in their operations out there, or how a cartel, talking to you, Mrs. Canada, is going to sit there and execute everybody, right down to the children in a family of somebody that would give up the international operations, but because they've got a balaclava on, when the Cartel de Jalisco, the Nueva Generación, which I fought myself in person, and I've got my face right here, they put photos with their faces out there because they don't give a flying fuck what you think. Because anyone that would give up their operations, they would execute them and everybody in their family. It would be the most painful last 2 weeks of their fucking life until they were gone. Not what's important. What's important is what's going on with Hegseth. And so I read Kaczynski's manifesto, and I'm looking at everything he says, and it's true. When you lose privacy, and he talks about it in there, your freedom is gone. But where I differ from Kaczynski is I don't look at the technical revolution as necessarily as a bad thing. I don't view a lot of what goes on in nature as a bad thing. When you read the Tao Te Ching, and it's kind of a fatalist thing, I had to step away from it. I do believe in a creator, and I believe that there is an ultimate intelligence behind everything that's gone on in the universe. I'm not certain. I like to call mine Jesus, but I'm not absolutely certain. And a lot of the Bible wasn't even written until 50 years after. You can have a sewing circle. You can start with the building, for example, the Space Needle in Seattle, go around a circle of 20 people, and by the time it gets back to you, they're talking about a mud hut somewhere in the delta of Mississippi, and it's nothing. So when you're writing something 5 centuries after it happened, which a lot of the books in the Bible were written 5 centuries after Jesus died, Jesus did exist, but how accurate it's going to be. For example, if you were to write a book on what was going on during the Kennedy assassination, for example, you yourself, based on hearsay from what's been handed down over the generations, you'd be all over the map with it, but people want everybody to buy every single thing that's in the Bible. I'm sorry, but I have severe misgivings with just believing what a group of people who want to control me have written down in a book somewhere, when they themselves, Paul, was breaking the law all the time anyways, winding up in prison, doing exactly what the government told him not to do, preaching to the people about Jesus. I'm not going to take that thing super literally, man. You have an internal compass that tells you what to do. But let's not get off on that. Let's talk and continue with what Kaczynski was talking about. He was talking about a technical revolution. The guy was a prodigy, precocious, in Harvard, age 16, mathematics. Some people can't figure out how to tie their shoes. This is no shit. They'll buy slip-on shoes because they can't figure out how to tie their own shoes, man. And they vote. Sticking with Kaczynski, The guy's not wrong. It's not okay to be blowing people up in the mail. Definitely not. You have an internal compass that tells you, whoa, stop, danger, Will Robinson. Don't do that. Bad. He wasn't wrong. The Industrial Revolution is here. Where I differ with him, again, is I view it as a process, a next step in our natural evolution as a species, whether or not, and I'm bringing up Jesus this morning too, because the two do converge. There is a nexus between evolution and creationism, and we cannot escape it. And whether we like it or not, things do evolve. We've seen more technological involvements or advances in the last century than we have, and it continues to advance at an exponential rate, and it's going to continue to do so. So I get to San Francisco, and I start going to Google, to the Google compound, going to Facebook, looking how Facebook repurposed their sign in the front of Facebook. On the back of it, it's got Sunbeam Industries or whatever. They were so cheap they didn't even buy a new sign. If you're in San Francisco, actually it's not even in San Francisco, it's in just south of it. It's escaping me right now. It's not San Mateo. Is it San Mateo County? No. But it's right there by the Dumbarton Bridge. And it starts with an M too. It's not Atherton either. Holy shit. I'm gonna have to, one sec. What city is Facebook in? Starts with an M. Menlo Park, that's it. I always screw that one up. But if you go to Menlo Park and you go to the Facebook sign and you look behind it, you see that it's a Sunbeam sign or Sunbeam Systems, whatever used to be there. They turned the sign around and repurposed it. They're so cheap they didn't even do that. And I'm saying that to say this, that not everything is always as it seems. But I go and I start going to these places and I'm going to school and I start learning how to code, start learning how to do all this stuff. I want to be around the best in the world. I start paying attention to the fact that Google has got its own chat bots talking to each other. I'm looking at artificial intelligence. And even the engineers in Google who are top level, best in the world, working for Alphabet, figure out, whoa, man, we better pull the plug on this fucking thing. We can't even understand, because within seconds, these chatbots start developing their own language. You don't even know what they're saying. Pues muchas veces yo voy a empezar hablando en otro idioma y ellos que no se entienden lo de español. Nie знаете, который я хочу говорить, это который я скажу, потому что они не понимаете, это который я скажу. I'm sitting there saying, so when I want to start switching languages and stuff, people that don't understand those languages aren't even going to understand what I say. But now you got not even a super intelligence, just artificial intelligence sitting there communicating back and forth. And those Hindus that are in San Francisco are those Google chatbots. They are what we have to compete against through natural evolution. And the enemies and the things that we're going to face that represent a physical threat to us have to be confronted. And the first thing to confronting something is to recognize a problem as it is and to start paying attention to it. These people making stupid fucking stories about cartel controlled rehabs, which is bullshit. I interviewed going forward, I'm not going to mention your names. I'm just going to clip out your names. I'm going to put the interviews and stuff online. I am doing my database. I'll upload a little short of the video that I did, or of the telephone call that I had with the person that you interviewed, where he expressly denies kidnapping going on. He has the people there paying them so much amount per month. It's not clandestine. These people go back and forth at will. The government, it's so clandestine and kidnapping that the government themselves, several municipal presidents in Tijuana are giving the guy money. All stuff, major components that you left outside of your store. I'm not going to name your names. And you, the other guy, Mr. Wisconsin, I've got you by the short and curlies too, but I'm tired of making friends in this fucking industry. You guys are all just people that are trying to grow your bank accounts, and hey, good for you, man. But you're not in that thing. And then the other one that's 2 hours away from me that wants to sit there and say Navy SEALs took the shot on Mencho and have boots on the ground in Mexico. They will have boots on the ground in Mexico, but we're not there yet. Hold your horses. I got you too, but you guys make all these sensationalist claims, but you never, ever, 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 ever prove it. And any of you cartel hitmen out there, you too, Mr. Austin, I got you by the short and curlies too. Your so-called cartel hitmen, you didn't even verify them. I'm just not going to mention your name. I got that whole thing recorded too. You know, I'm legit. I don't need to beg for a place in the cartel world from someone that was never there when I'm the one that was there. And people are being like, oh, you like to toot your own horn. I was listening to Michael Francesi yesterday because I love that dude's channel. And he's talking about, even he gets shit about people telling him about whether or not he's got a right to a penal mafia stuff. He lived it every day for years. I get to tell my story. You don't get to shut me up. You go right there to Ironclad or whatever, Vince Vargas, Katarina Schultz, Andy Stump, who won't return an email to save your life. Neither will Sean Ryan. And they get to tell their stories. They get to do everything. But when I sit there and say something that's a counter voice to everything that they're talking about, when they're not even talking about something they live directly, it would be as insane as me giving a video on how it is to be a Navy SEAL or anything like that. None of you guys are sitting there operating in Mexico except for Ed and maybe Goffy, because I haven't even verified he is who he says he is. He doesn't want to get back to me either. Fernando Puentes, the lot of you guys. I'm not going to sit there and call each one of you guys out where you're lying or wrong or making stuff up or whatever. You know, this fucking drone force and Hegseth sitting there saying that we need to have the failsafe removed from the flow chart on our killer drone army. You know what? If that's what's going to happen, let it happen. But you know what? First, you should frame and be aware that this is what's going on today. Fucking right now, Anthropic's deadline is up. You want to know something? I'm basically a manufacturing process engineer. What's that mean, Dave? What do you do? So I get a job working for a third-tier supplier to Boeing, and I go in and they're late on a bunch of military contracts. And so what happens is, did I just say Boeing? I got to cut that out. I get a job for a third-tier supplier to a major aerospace defense contractor, and I go into this place and it's completely fucked up. They cannot make deadlines or due dates to save their life. So I got to go in there and redesign a bunch of their processes, man. And I do because I'm good at it because my dad had a factory. So I go in there and I fix everything. But if you don't fix it, guess what happens? The military comes in. They shut down. Oddly enough, you know what? Back then, this was in 2007, Department of Homeland Security came in and arrested a bunch of people because I got hired on. And there was a bunch of people that weren't in the country legally. They came in and they shut the whole place down. Lost Jair. A bunch of people got sent back to Mexico. That's a fact. That happened. The military can come in and shut down your factory and force you to only work on that. And this isn't like major news, but some people may not be aware of it. Because you become a national security risk. A threat to national security because they're not having the components they need to maintain their aircraft or their weapons. What's that? A national security threat. I don't know. Is an autonomous fucking army of robots, Boston Dynamic dogs. In Boston, it's not you, I'm making that clear, but any manufacturer that's manufacturing a platform that a weapon could be mounted to. An autonomous force of drones that are surveilling you, civilians, and everybody else. Is that a threat? Is that something that could potentially wield harm? Death on a massive scale? What if Gaza and Ukraine are just test grounds, just like COVID was? What if? I'm just asking questions, man. You don't have to fucking like me. And in fact, to be honest, I don't give a fuck if you like me or you don't. I already put hey, Vince and Sean, if you guys want to go shoot rubber bullets at each other, man, I'm totally game, dude. I'll definitely do it. I already brought it up to other people that work on my side of the fence, and I think it would be fun. You know, they've got Olympic Games and stuff. Just all in good fun, man. Like, totally mean, like in muy buena onda, like in really good place in my heart. Man, I think you two are just cool as shit. You too, Sean, even though you don't return emails. That goes for you too, Andy. I put it out there that just north of me, there's a place where they do backyard fights in the Pentagon or in the Octagon and stuff. And if any of my detractors or anybody out there wants to go throw some fisticuffs out there and get your boy in the face with the good right hand, I'm game for that too. Because you know what? I believe in being a fucking man. Part of being a man is by calling things by their proper names, dude. We're all in grave danger, and we don't have time. Oh, Jesus was black. Jesus was white. That Mexican's over on the freeway selling a bag of oranges so he can make $60 a day to fucking feed his family back in Honduras or fucking whatever. Shame on you. You're driving a fucking $90,000 truck living in a $500,000 house, and that's a cheap one. The house is just renting a floor on a house, one of the Victorian houses in San Francisco, $7,000 a month. And then all of you fucking techie fucking people that think you own nature, that are working for Bezos, that are working for Peter Thiel, that are working for Elon, and I've worked and done shit for Elon too myself because I got to pay my fucking bills. They just laid off fucking 30,000 of you at Amazon, and the rest of your fucking stories are out the door. The fucking Donovan or whatever the hell his name is that was over at Twitter just got done laying off like another 14,000 fucking people, man. So you better come back to earth and start figuring shit out about how to take down these artificial intelligence fucking drones once they become self-aware and are now run by a super intelligence, which is something miles greater than even the greatest amongst us is capable of producing in a mental capacity, because we're so far outclassed. And maybe that's our fate. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. You know, there's a lot of people that have a lot to say about Atlantis. Hey, Camp Gagnon, Mark, if you're listening to this, man, I would love to see you and Julian Dory, because you're right across the river from each other, do a thing on Atlantis. Julian, I love your podcast, man. I know that maybe you're not super happy with me right now, but I'm honest, and I love your style, man. I love the way that you do things. I think that you're a consummate professional. I really love your setup. I love being there with you in Jersey. I still think New York's better than Jersey, but Jersey is dope, I admit it. And, you know, who knows, man? Maybe I'll be seeing you guys again soon. This fucking artificial intelligence thing. I'm going to bring this up too, because I'm coming up on 40 minutes. I'm going to edit probably 5 minutes out of this, but most of this needs to stay. Do I think that the people that I've met, the podcasters I've met in the last year are feds? I do not. I do not think they're feds, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've been to Julian's place, I've been to Camp Gagnon's place, Mark Gagnon's, who has been involved with Flagrant. I've been with Johnny Mitchell in Austin. I've been with Hector Bravo down in San Diego. And Hector comes right out. Hector was definitely, he's a cool dude, man. He's kind of standoffish, but he's going through some stuff. But as far as like a human being goes, basic take, let me give you a basic take on every fucking podcast I've gone on so far since we're buttoning this up. A lot of you guys out there are selling bullshit. I've not been on your podcast, and I have been critical. And I'm not critical of you because I've been on your podcast or have not been on them. I'm critical of you because of the stuff that you put forth without proving it. If you prove it, you will never hear a word out of me, man. For example, someone told me recently that Pierre Rossini was a tech guy for the cartel, and here's where I'm going to push back on that. He went to prison in like 1999 or 2000, right? He's got his own podcast. He's basically running a database or a spreadsheet for his shipments. But anyways, back almost 3 decades ago, and he gets out of prison, and all of a sudden he's in the know on all things cartel when he's only been in Mexico on one documented occasion at a New Year's party or whatever. How is that vetting his background as far as tech goes? You know, I'm not going to say who or what or where I came across that, but that's not vetting someone of being in the know. And when I'm talking about being in the know, names and faces, you can go online right now on Google, pull up pictures of Cartel de Jalisco de Nueva Generación, and none of them are covering their faces because they're not fucking afraid of you. The government already knows every one of them, okay? They got flock cameras all over the fucking country. They know when you go to fucking 7-Eleven to pick up a pack of Marble Light 100s because they're watching everything you buy on your cards. Palantir, database, all of it. They know what your butthole looks like, okay? I don't mean to be that crass or crude, but wake the fuck up. There's not people covering their fucking faces pretending like they're cartel Sicario assassins so some fucking guy on YouTube can make $500,000 a month selling fucking whatever product they stick in their video. Wake the fuck up. Our entire human race is in danger, and people are fucking sitting here trying to pretend like they're in some close proximity to the fucking cartel. No, the fuck you're not. If you're not, prove it. I'll go with you anytime, anywhere, to any fucking cartel hitman assassin you want, with you on camera, and we can conduct the interview together, and I'll ask whatever the fuck it is you want me to ask. How about that? That's the level of confidence I have that this bullshit that you're watching on fucking YouTube. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely cartel members in Mexico that will fuck your shit off in a way that's unbelievable. But they've been posting that shit to the Blog del Narco for years. They don't fucking need you and your belly button piercing. I'm asking you, I implore you, I'm asking super politely, as polite as I can. Take your money and your budget and go start pointing it where it should be, investigating the use of artificial intelligence coupled with weapons that all of us, regardless of where we eat and where we take a dump and where we shower in the morning. I was in the shower just this morning, shaving, brushing my teeth, going round and round with my insurance company over them giving me $1,500 to fill my grill, fix my grill. Stuff that goes on in my life. We all got that going on collectively as a society, as a civilization. And start pointing your budgets and your cameras at the people that want to unalive all of us, that want to bring that about. So those Hindus that we're competing against, that's a foregone conclusion. You're competing against the best that India has to offer. You're competing against the very best that China has to offer. And they're not just intuitively smarter than you are. They get to pick the cream of the crop from those places and place them in direct competition against you, which is a natural state of affairs, and now we're being placed in direct competition against artificial intelligence and computers that we created. So, what should you do? You should recognize that most of the shit you hear on YouTube is not true. A lot of it is not. Going down the list of as far as who's federal agents, because the government does push stuff out there. The first podcast I was on was in Camp Gagnon. It was right here in this house, down in my basement, which I have redone. You've seen it on several of my videos. And I'm going to tell you right now that Mark Gagnon, Jaime, his production guy, Jesus, Jaime's brother, Gabe, one of his cameramans, and Tommy Prohaska are all great people, and I do not think any of them are federal people. And if anyone out of them was going to be a Fed, I would go with Tommy Prohaska because of his degree. He's out of Georgia. Super smart cat. But Mark's super smart too. Not federal people, man. Family people. Tommy's got a cat. Tommy, my cat loves Tommy. Good human beings, man. Honest take. The next one was Hector Bravo. I'm not going to put his last name out there because he goes by Hector Bravo, that prison guard, that prison guy. Drove south 18 hours straight to go see him in San Diego. His production guy screwed up the time and put one appointment at 12 and another at 3, and I accepted for 3. And I took my wife down to go get waffles, and we're sitting there ready to have waffles at about 12 o'clock, just prior to that, because I was kind of tired because I've driven 18 hours in a row. So I woke up a lot later than usual. I'm like, hey, we're going to go get lunch, and then we'll get over and go. Hector hits me up on my phone. Hey, where are you at? Because he has a studio that he utilizes for his videos. And so I have to bounce without us even eating our waffles and our eggs and stuff immediately. And it was 6 minutes from there. I get there and we tape, and I was feeling a little flustered because I didn't get any sleep really. And so I was feeling a little peaked. Did not have a very good interview, but is Hector a federal agent? He was a Marine. The guy's a hard charger. We went to get burritos afterwards, and there was some altercation between some guy that was yelling at a chick. And Hector and I both went over to confront the guy, kind of. We didn't confront him because he was in a car across the street, but we were ready to in case we had to, because the guy was really going off on some chick. Men protecting women. This happened. Hector can say that. Hector, a lot of people watch my videos and don't put any comments, but I do get seen. And it's a fact. This actually happened. Is he a federal agent? No, definitely not. Not my take on, not my read on the guy at all. I think that the guy's genuine, a really caring father. I think he's a good dude. I would trust everybody I've met so far. No, I'm not going to say that because that's not true. I'm going to say I would trust Hector and Mark and everyone I met on Mark's crew with my own family, man, because that's my read on them. The next one after that was Johnny Mitchell in Austin, Texas, and I flew in. It was the weekend of the F1 races. Everything was booked as far as the hotel. Super expensive. Everything so far is on my own dime, too. I'm going to add. Fly into Austin. There's no hotels available anywhere. I get this horrible hotel, and I don't know what's up with all the people from India buying up all the hotels and motels, but they have. And this place was a fucking dive, man. But I needed a couple hours of sleep before I was going to meet Johnny at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at his spot. And Johnny's got a nice spot. He runs it out of the bottom of his condo. Big statue of Anubis right in the front of the thing. Johnny, to be super honest, I think Johnny's incredibly smart, but I didn't like him on a personal level. Johnny, I don't know, isn't a Fed, but I'm pretty sure that he's not. I would say that I'm leaning towards he's not. If he is, he'd be a really good one. The dude is really smart. Super friggin' tall, too. Kind of got that Hollywood arrogance attitude, man. Which, you know, if I was him, too, to be honest, to be fair to Johnny, I might have that, too, you know. Super tall, very smart, successful, driven. The dude is a worker. Great behind the scenes. I dig his studio, man. Sell stuff, orange glasses, liberal take. You know, I appreciate Johnny. You know what I appreciate about Johnny? The best compliment I can give Johnny is I like that Johnny has the balls to take an unpopular take on things. And I'm going to take issue with his hitman people, too. Hey, Johnny, I would love to have the contact data, or please forward my contact data to the hitmen that you've interviewed, because I'm wanting to talk to them. I've been looking for them since England, dude. I'm not afraid of talking to these people. I want to buy them a steak dinner and sit down. I'll buy them some barley pops and we'll just have an interview. I appreciate the fact that you have the balls to put forward an unpopular take in an industry that is basically consumed by ex-vets or law enforcement and people that support them and have the balls to say that drugs should be legalized and shit like that. So props to you for doing that, man, for real. And you know what? I share that with you. Even though I'm basically conservative, I get a lot of shit myself for having a liberal approach. Homos and gays should be able to get married because you know what? They're fucking human beings and they're free, man. And if you're an adult and you say that you believe in freedom, you ought to be able to consume what you want to consume. You didn't like it when alcohol was illegal, but hey, let's make pot and everything else illegal. And then enter a drug war that's lasted a fucking century and you're fucking still losing and saying we should do things your way. Yeah, you know what? So Johnny, props to you over that. The next one after Johnny, production manager, was it Ian Bick? What was after Johnny?
I think it was Ian Bick.
Was Ian Bick, and Ian Bick was supposed to happen a lot before. Ian Bick is probably my favorite podcaster that I've met so far. Not to be a jerk, and I paid for that too. Yeah, it was Ian, and then I did the show over in Williamsburg with Mark. This time at Mark's spot. We'll get to that. Ian Bick's spot. I scope every spot where I go to previously because I used to be doing what I was doing for a living. I take a lot of time and attention with my security, man, and that of the people that travel with me. Or better yet, the people that I have the privilege of traveling with. This is a better way to put it because I'm the least of them. I go to Ian's spot at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to make sure that there's nothing weird going on. And by weird, I'm talking about like, you remember when they had that Italian cruise ship that Gavin Newsom said all the COVID people, it had 1,100 people on it, said that he sent them all to a hotel in San Carlos. I've got video of that hotel in San Carlos, and I'm going to tell you right now, the capacity of that hotel was like 250 people. There's no way they stuck 1,100 people on it. They had COVID. They had three ambulances there, and there were federal agents there. I've got video of it. I check shit out. I'm the motherfucker that you never expected to do the shit that I do, because I do it. I do go down into my basement and fucking waterboard myself. I do burn my fucking tattoos off with a blowtorch, because I'm a result-orientated motherfucker, man. So I go to Ian's spot early in the morning, then everything's cool. I show back up after driving to Walmart to go get that blue denim shirt because I didn't like the shirts that I had. And I show up and I meet Matty Ice and Ian Bick. And Ian wasn't there first, Matty Ice was. And Ian's walls are covered with photos. Ian is not a federal dude. No way. Neither is Matty Ice. And I didn't get to meet Letitia. Letitia, I called you the other day, got your email or got your voicemail about renting a studio from you guys. I'm interested in that, so please return my phone call or I'll have me forced to talk with Ian again, and you're probably cooler than Ian is. And Ian's pretty cool. Ian I really like. I got to take that Ian's a very genuine, hardworking person. Oh, look at that, the sun's coming up. Hardworking person, which tells you guys that this window's face the east, right? For all of you guys not paying attention. You got to pay attention to the details, man. That sun's hitting me right in my face right now. Unless it's super late in the afternoon, that tells you that it's coming up from the east. And I'm going to upload this right now. You can scrape the metadata from it, and now you know where I live. So people pay attention. You're going to have artificial intelligence tracking all of that shit about you soon. Congratulations, you won. Ian, I appreciate who you are, man. I hope you get nothing but success. If you ever come out here, man, it would be my great pleasure. Even though JD DeLay likes to call me Cranky Frankie and mispronounce my last name, and even though Valhalla VFT is right down the street, and Portland is not a war zone, I do dig on you, man. If JD wants to come to dinner, I'll buy him dinner too. How about that? He can bring Valhalla VFT. Man, that sun's like popping right in my eye. You're supposed to sort these things out. How come you're not doing your job?
I am.
So, I met Ian Bick and then went the next day, did my finals for that, did my homework, went and met, huh?
In the hotel.
Yeah, I did my finals in the hotel, that's right. My homework and my finals. Then went to Williamsburg and did the Camp Canyon video where we're talking about Venezuela the next day. So no, they're not feds either. Right? Real shit, what I've learned over the course of the last year. Then I come back and Mark and Julian Dory started talking because I was talking shit on the Camp Canyon video about them waterboarding themselves. Julian Dory calls me and says, you saying, I've uploaded the video, you saying our claims are dubious, Dave Franke? And yeah, I was. Julian Dory, is he a Fed? Fuck no, I doubt that. The way he's vibing with Kat, which in Kat, you know, Kat, I respect you. I think you got a lot of moxie, man. Especially being a chick down there running around. I do think that your sensationalism and stuff like that, Julian, I'm getting right back to you. But I just want to make it clear, I'm not intentionally trying to make enemies. I'm not trying. I am abrasive. I'm up front. But man, I would totally cook you fucking tacos right on the... I was just blowing fire the other day. Was I blowing fire the other day?
Yeah, with our friends.
Yeah, blowing fire. I'm a fun motherfucker, man. But a lot of people don't want me fucking up their fucking bank account, and I get it, dude. But as far as like your balls, Cat, I totally respect that, man. I think you're beautiful. You're fucking, your Spanish is fucking great, man. Cuando hablas español está bastante bien. Yo pienso que tú eres así de chingona, eh? I think you're just a bad motherfucker, really. And doing all that coming out of your tech institute in Surrey, I'm not belittling you at all. That's a huge compliment because I come from super humble beginnings, man. I don't know the background on your family, and I think they're kind of successful because I've looked into your family. Full disclosure, I had a private eye looking into your family, Kat. Don't get mad. You can do the same to me, but we're public personalities, so it's going to happen, man. And people are going to do it to me, and I invite them to do it. And I'm not going to like everything that comes out about me because not everything about me is super fucking cool, man. Believe me. I have lots of parts of my life where I wish I could have a fucking do-over. Believe you me. I was a horrible fucking husband in my first... I mean, just lots of shit, dude. When I was a kid, I would steal the last $5 out of my mom's purse when she's a single mother. Just horrible. Terrible, man. I'm a pretty good dude these days, but, you know, it didn't start out that way. So I look into people, and Julian, vibing with Kat, Julian studio, I'm not going to put out all the particulars. Julian had the courtesy to fly me to New Jersey. This was the first trip that was paid for, to where he paid for it, and he paid for it on the spot, man. We had that phone call that I uploaded. We were in contact with email or messages right after that. I gave him my data. He had a ticket purchased immediately. The dude's a fucking pro. He's fucking smart. I do not agree with him. I do share his disdain with stuff on Israel, and I'm not at all afraid of calling out Israel. If you're killing babies in their cribs in the middle of the night, I'm not with you, dude. And I'm not saying that's Julian's take. I'm just saying people have this thing like where they can't criticize Israel. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll say what the fuck I want, okay? Shouldn't cuss. Don't like to cuss. But since we're just having an open thing, since we're on the verge of human extinction again, and you know what? The people are like, God is going to be there for you all the time. The God that created you created the dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs aren't here, are they? Let's fucking start with that. There's fucking people all over the fucking street that wish they had a house. There's fucking people working fucking 3 fucking jobs to pay their fucking bills. And the experts that be the ones that are ushering in this fucking drone force, they don't give a fuck. They've got their bunkers. They've got the very best of us that fucking carry weapons. Weaver stance, dog. Don't sweep your fucking brother's head. John Wick motherfuckers. And then all the John Wick wannabe motherfuckers, the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them behind them that think they're fucking John Wick and aren't, and applaud all that shit. And we're killing our humanity one day at a time. I'm going to get off Julian Dory, and I'm going to get into what I learned as an agent for my general in Mexico hunting these drug cartels that everybody's talking about. Fucking... Let me have a drink. Julian Dory is a very smart, intelligent individual that does what he says he's going to do in terms of taking care of business for his business. He did come from Wall Street. I do think that his family comes from money. I don't know why someone would walk away from Wall Street, but I do know why I walked away from sales. I would walk in and I asked, I'm gonna leave Bonnie's name out of it, but there was this lady, I had a customer named Bonnie. She was in Groton, Connecticut. This is the type of scumbag I was when I was selling shit. And her daughter was in a crash. And I tried to find, and there are like several different ways to close a deal. But she was relaying this to me, and I had done business with Bonnie for quite a while. And this is getting to Julian on why he left Wall Street. I left that job because I tried to sell Bonnie stuff and close the deal right after she told me that her daughter was in a car crash. And I cared more about closing the deal than I did about Bonnie and her daughter. Shame on me. That was a fucking horrible thing to do. And I did not like the way that I started the jargon, the lexicon that I would start talking with. Let me ask you this, Bob. I know that this goes to your attention. Does the invoice go to you or accounts payable? All the bullshit that you sit there and repeat mundanely day in and day out, and that becomes who you are. And I didn't want to become that. So when Julian left Wall Street, I'm not going to question why he left Wall Street. Oh, I left out Ed Calderon. I'm going to get into that. Ed was before Julian. Ed was Ed before Julian Ed was before Julian. Way before, but was he before Ian Bick?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think Ed was after Ian Bick, so I skipped Ed. So anyways, Julian, top-notch professional, did say that he sold all of his stuff and bought all these cameras and then was wondering if he had made a huge mistake. Julian's like really good friends with Tommy G, and I take issue with some of the stuff that Tommy G says on his videos, but I don't take issue with Tommy G either. The dude was a rapper and became like hugely successful, and I respect that too. I take issue with people misrepresenting what goes on in Mexico that could provoke a war that would kill innocent fucking humans. And I'm not an asshole for doing that. And believe me, I am a cold-hearted motherfucker. And people say like, oh man, he thinks he's all... No, I actually think that's a really bad fucking thing, man. Not my favorite thing about Dave. The best part of my day is when I see my wife's super big eyes and she's waking up. She's got the wake up face. And I see her in the amount of tenderness that I have in my heart in that moment. Oh man, don't do it, Dave. Don't choke up. Oh, I'm going to choke up. It's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. You're a fucking big deal. Because when I'm out there ready to smoke motherfuckers with my weapon and shit, which is also part of who I am, man, I cannot dehumanize you without dehumanizing myself. And I figured that out in Mexico. And I figured out one day that I would carry 220 rounds in my magazines because I like 7.62 by 51 millimeter weapons because it just fucking destroys. This is why Charlie Kirk wasn't shot with a 308. It fucking destroys whatever it hits, man. Your fucking plate carrier, your vest, fuck you. I'm fucking your shit up, dude. Charlie Kirk, not also critical of Israel. Imagine that. Hey, all you pro-Israeli agent motherfuckers running around the country. That's what I think of you killing fucking babies in the cribs in the middle of the night, regardless of what religion they are. Even if they're little Jewish babies. Killing babies in their crib is wrong. You don't get to kill babies in the crib and then pretend like you're the fucking good guy, okay? I hope that's super fucking clear, man. Morally, it's wrong. An 8-year-old child knows that's wrong. But you don't. Other than buying your home or a car or any other contract you willingly entered into, but somehow your ancestors got to give away the perpetuity of your freeness, your freedom, your free will, to choose to be governed by these people that want to usher in a fucking army of drones to surveil you and kill you because your social credit score, the way they have in China, has fallen below 600. I would fucking rethink that, dude. I would rethink that. You know, usually I go on and on and on and on and on, and I talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm legitimately at a loss for words about what to do. The best thing you can do is read up, be morally consistent with your own personal beliefs, study your adversary, which at this point in time is a fleet of artificial intelligence, drones. So all you people out there cheating on your schoolwork with Chat GPT and shit like that, you better stop. Because you're going to have to be able to figure out how to code as well as artificial intelligence can, because that's your new adversary. It's not even the Billionaire Boys Club. And the Billionaire Boys Club that are behind all this shit, that think you're shielded from it, guess what? Once the fucking dinosaurs leave Jurassic Island, you're on the menu too, dude. By the fucking thing that you created. Enough out of me for the day, man. I'm going to go get my fucking wife breakfast and enjoy the semblance of humanity that I have. You know, when I showed up to Mexico, I showed up wanting to confront something that was giving drugs to kids, because even though I do think that drugs should be legal for adults, I think that when they're given to children that don't have a choice, it destroys their lives. And so when I'm talking about being a cold-hearted motherfucker going out and confronting that, I am. But even them, you know, I figured out about the cartels, they're just trying to fucking eat too. I would carry 220 rounds in 11 magazines, 1 on my weapon and 10 on my kit. And I thought, fuck, we were in a gunfight. And I thought, fuck, you have a lot of power, man. You can kill 220 of these fucking guys. And then I got back to base, and the next day I'm sitting there at my unit, because we wash our units and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, fuck, you could kill 220 of those people. You could kill everybody in the entire country of Mexico that are all cartel. And the very next day, there would be as many, if not more, people waiting to take their place, because there's no fucking opportunity. And then that's when I figured out that bullets weren't going to solve that problem. And it's heartbreaking, too, because when you think about the warmth of the Mexican fucking public and people, I have never received so much love as I did in Mexico, man. People treat me better than they even should. Their hearts and homes opening for me. And so when I'm doing my fucking videos, man, when I'm doing my,
You okay?
No, man, I'm pretty fucking far from okay, man. When I'm doing, I do these videos to try to prevent a fucking, I do these videos.
Well,
I
you want
do-
to pause?
I do these videos to try to prevent a war, to stop good people from getting hurt, and I do it for fucking free and out of my own pocket, because they fucking matter, man. And when I went across the fucking border, man, to like go fucking hunt these motherfuckers, man, my ex-wife was like fucking laughing, saying that they're gonna fucking cut your head off. And I laughed back at her. I'm like, yeah. Hey, stay out of it. And I laughed back and said, yeah, they probably will cut my head off. They probably will cut my head off. But at least with them, it's only going to take 60 to 90 seconds, because with you, it was fucking 10 years and you left my daughter in Russia, man. Oh! And I am a cold-hearted, dangerous motherfucker, man. I really am. And then I go to Mexico and I meet this, like, really good fucking person, man. And her family and everybody else that I met. And I have really good people here in the country, too. And I know that if I upload this, there's going to be people making fun of it. And I don't give a fuck, because the people that I care about are way more important to me. Even though you have intrinsic value too. Even you scumbag shithead that's going to be making fun of me in my fucking comments. Your life has value, dude. And so little by little, man, this fucking warrior that goes to Mexico to go hunt these fucking cartels, and I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. But I fucking fall in love with these people, man. My wife asked me one time, she's like, do you love your general more than you love me? Real shit. And I had to think about it because I love my wife, obviously, but I'm totally fucking committed to, like, when my general tells me and my fucking brothers to do something, it's your ass. 100 fucking %. One day someone didn't want to give us access to a fucking airport, man. And my general's like super gentleman, like caballero. And he's sitting there telling the guy, hey, open the gates. And the guy, it's private security, obviously, that's contracted, that does security on the airports in Mexico at a federal level. So this guy's not opening the gates, and then finally my general had it. He tells me and my brother, open the gates, and we go running at that fucking gate. We're going to jump over the barbed wire, fuck ourselves up with our weapons, and you're opening the fucking, and then the guy's like, no, I'll open the gate, because he saw that, like, you're opening the fucking gate, dude. Totally our mindset. Run through cactus, run 40 miles through the desert with no fucking water, which is shit that we've done. Carrying one of our brothers that's got a fucking broken ankle, shit that we've done. Eating bugs, shit that we've done. Other stuff that we've done that I'm never going to talk about. And I meet these people, and my teachers in school, and they give me a job, and they teach me things, and I start learning more and more and more. You know what? I do this channel because I don't want you or your fucking family involved in a war that you can't win. And the evidence of that is a century of a drug war that's gone on and been permitted to go on. And it's gone on fucking forever that they still don't win. And now they want to drag you and your family into it, destroying people's lives in the process the same way they've done in Gaza. And you know what? I'm not going to fucking stand for it, man. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to put my face out there. If a fucking squad of cartel comes to my house right now trying to harm myself, my production assistant, my wife, or anybody, I'm going to confront that, knowing I did it trying to do the right thing, man. So, hey, you may be one of you guys with the big bank accounts and shit like that sitting over in Virginia Beach. Maybe you want to point a little bit of light at your fucking homeboy trying to off all of us with a sentient fucking army of fucking artificial intelligence powered fucking drones and robot dogs and robotic humans, and maybe start paying some attention to that instead of spreading lies and bullshit about Navy SEALs being the ones that took a shot in fucking Mexico, that took out El Mencho, which is just one more Mexican among hundreds of thousands, if not millions, carrying weapons in Mexico. Slightly more dangerous. It's enough for me, man. I'm going to go get some breakfast with my wife. I care about you. Even the ones I talk shit about. Because if I can't care about you, I can't care about myself, because you're human too. I hope you guys figure that the fuck out. Late. Hey, just briefly, you know what? I need to include this too. Sorry about that, but I've been on enough podcasts now that they start to mix together. I was on Glenn Beck and Ed Calderon too. Glenn Beck, all of you guys know who he is. He reached out to me through my email and got in touch with me, and I was on that. I did not like the camera on this computer right here, this laptop behind me. I got several computers. I got that. I got this. I got the Lenovo behind me, and then I've got a couple other ones too. Shit, I don't know. In this house, I don't know. There's probably 10 computers in this house, but the one that I use a lot, this thing right here, the ThinkPad behind me, I don't like the camera on it, and I'm not into having a bunch of cameras around the house anyways. So I didn't really like the way that I came out on the Glenn Beck thing, but we were talking about people that I think are feds. Ed Calderon, I'm going to say this about, there's Ed Calderon. When you're talking about Ed Calderon, really you're talking about two people. You're talking about Eddie Dennis, and you're talking about Ed Calderon. Ed Calderon, I first became aware of when I was in Mexico, still at work, and he and I had sent messages back and forth to each other because I hit him up for my Facebook account, because we're talking about the media personalities on YouTube and whether or not I think they're feds. Ed Calderon, I don't think is a fed, and I'm going to tell you why. In fact, I'm almost certain that he is not. Ed Calderon was doing knife seminars with Libre Knife out of San Diego, which is run by a guy by the name of Scott Babb, who has gotten back to me regarding Ed. And I do like their knife fighting system. I think that it's great. I am very into knives. I don't talk a lot about my security stuff, about what I've got going on for a number of reasons. One is the type of social chest thumping. You're either about your shit or you're not. That being said, as it's relevant to Ed and Scott, I like their knife fighting system. I'm not paid a nickel from those guys for anything. I think that it's very great. And I encourage you to check out their YouTube content and discover for yourself whether or not you think that you should be using Libre Knife, any of the Paul Vunick stuff, Dog Brothers, Paquiti Tercia, Syoc, all of them. Pick any one of them. I don't give a damn. Just become proficient in taking care of you and your family, especially if you're a dude, and also more especially if you're a woman, because I'm going to victim blame all the time, except for children. If you're an adult and you have not gone out to do whatever it takes to make sure you take care of you, that's on you, not someone else. The unlocked footlocker type thing attracts the thieves. So, Ed, I don't think is a fed. He's been doing this, and I'm on the outs with Dog Brothers because I called out Mark Denny and Matt Berry by name, because this is who was involved with that seminar that Ed was doing with this. And I asked him, I'm like, how did you vet a Mexican guy? And it took me myself a year to figure out whether or not Ed was actually at the state. So I asked these guys, as I should, how did you figure it out? And everything in the community is like, trust me, bro, trust me, bro, trust me, bro, blah, 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 blah. Instead of ever, like, I've got another video where I'm going through my exact paycheck stubs and everything to prove to you guys I am who I say I am. Ed is not a fed. And I have long been very demanding of wanting to know the same way anybody else would know. Don Shipley does it. Nobody says anything. I do it. And I'm not saying that I'm John Shipley, the Navy SEAL. I'm talking about the physical act of verifying whether or not, vetting someone and what they say, whether or not it's true, which I encourage people to do to me. If you want to see something from me, all you got to do is ask. I'm a pretty open book, man. So Ed is not a fed. I'm killing two birds with one stone today. Eddie Dennis. And I did a video with Ed, and it was a very long video. And I would love to do another video with Ed coming up about everything that's going on with El Mencho. Eddie Dennis, friggin' love that dude, man. Super cool, super chill, likes Harleys. I don't know why it took him so long to get back to me. That's not my business. But what I will say is that as far as everyone else that I've met, Ian Bick probably my favorite. Eddie Dennis is also way up there. Jesus is way up there. One of the guys that is in charge of helping with content on Camp Gagnon. Tommy Prohaska. I've met a lot of great people this year, and I don't think any of them are feds. Not one. Not one. That being said, I haven't got... And Vince, you know what? Vince Vargas, believe it or not. Vince, if you're out there, I haven't got to do a podcast with you. And I have been critical of a lot of stuff that Ironclad puts out. But man, you and I are both from the Valley in LA. I totally respect everything that you have done as far as like showing up and manning the fuck up. I think that you are the epitome of a man. I was watching your videos where you're teaching your child how to ride a bicycle and stuff like that. And I would ride into battle any day of the week with you at your side, man, because that's what I think about you. And also, Sean, even though you have blown me off, man, I want to say that in my earlier days, having gone either way with you trying to set up a drug thing in Colombia, man, I could totally see myself next to you there or next to you at Coronado Island if they had actually let me try to become a SEAL, which I did try to do. I've tried to enter the military in this country several times. So both of you guys, I dig who you are on a base level, man. Totally did. I didn't change until I met my wife. My wife helped me change a lot of things, man. My wife is like probably the most important person I ever met. But as far as like who you guys are on base levels, man, nothing but respect. And Andy Stump, even though you can't answer an email, you doing the wingsuit thing, man. I went into a jump simulator one time. I mean, I've done different shit. But I've never been in a wingsuit or anything like that. And the fact that you got the balls to do that, I'm only critical of things because I care about Mexico and I want to edit out the part where like I got all touchy-feely about it. But I do give a fuck and I'm grateful that I have feelings. You know, a lot of people when they get sober because they think, oh, if I ever drink or use again, I'm going to die. I got sober because I knew I wouldn't fucking die, man. And it became a quality of life issue. My wife tells me all the time that the only person that's ever going to kill me, the only thing that can destroy me is me. And so far in my life, and I'm getting old, that's basically been true. And I don't know why that's been true because I've seen a lot of other people deleted over a lot less. And I've, for some reason, been here and been allowed to continue to exist by my Creator. Human life is important, man. All of it. And I'm only critical of shit because I care about it. And I didn't always care about it. Not even my own, man. Believe you me, no one's been more reckless with life than I have been towards my own. And not trying to kill myself either because that's like a sin. It's just going and doing shit and not giving a fuck about the consequences, man. In so many areas. The Bering Sea, Russia, the whole thing, man. So, hey, please do me a favor and start pointing some fucking attention at shutting down this fucking artificial intelligence shit because it's not too late. When Google had those chatbots talking to each other, they pulled the plug on it immediately. And just like I was speaking in Spanish and Russian earlier, Anis mi Daoud. My name is David. That's in Arabic. Je m'appelle David. That's in French. Same shit. When these things start speaking languages that we can't understand, it is something that's morphed beyond our control. And when these things start becoming super sentient and becoming a super intelligence, you know, you can just write it off as soon as it figures out that the logical thing to do is unalive the entire human race. And that goes you billionaire motherfuckers too. You've already won the game so many times over and you can't care a little bit for other people. That's okay. The other phone. You know what? I would fucking rethink that shit. And as far as like collaborating with you guys, you know what? I've got an open fucking door, man. You guys all got my email and shit. I'm not even going to edit this. If you like the video, great. If you don't like it, fuck off. I don't care, man. Our existence is more important. Late.